welcome to something that somebody might say is rather challenging. Making an honest car review about your own car, about your own pride and joy. Well, what's there to say? It's a brilliant car. In fact, yeah. This is a 1990 Daihatsu Charade g102 16 valve 3-door. It's not a GTTI, but it is pretty fast. But when I say pretty fast, in modern day standards, it isn't really. It's 0 to 100 in about 14 seconds, just a bit less, 13 point something, I don't know. Maybe just a bit under 13, can't remember. It's been a while since I tested it. Yeah, I like this era of cars because they are simple enough to do everything yourself, but they are advanced enough to have electronic fuel injection and proper ignition without adjusting the points, and also it runs on unleaded fuel, so I don't need to pour any lead substitute into the fuel tank when I'm refilling. Now the 16 valve isn't the most powerful of the lineup of these cars. There was the GTTI, which was a 3-cylinder turbo 12 valve twin cam. I wish I had a GTTI. You could also buy this car with this engine and all-wheel drive. It's not even that sunny here. I have no idea whether you can hear me clearly, because mine has no insulation, no sound deadening or heat insulation on the ceiling, and also when I was welding this up I had to remove all the sound deadening from the floor just to check if there's any holes. There was a few small ones, so I'm not sure if it's a standard issue, but it is very loud. How much did I pay for this car? Well, I didn't. I got it from my dad. He bought it when I was less than 1 year old, and he paid 11,500 marks for it, which is in modern day money about 2,000 euros, 2.5, I don't know. But that was when the car was what? A 10-year-old second-hand car. So yeah, it's been in the family for 20 years. Although most of that, well, about half of that, it was standing in a bush next to a forest. Surprisingly, it hadn't rusted away, which is quite rare for a Japanese car of this era. Finding spare parts for this isn't actually as hard as you would think. Well, I didn't find a catalytic converter for that, because that was the main reason why the car was abandoned, because back then a new one would have been worth more than the car. But yeah, the story of this car is basically another video, or I'm planning on having it in another video. This is supposed to be a car review. So, the car. This one is pretty much a base model. The only optional extra ticked on this car, when it was ordered, the back windows open. They open a bit with a hinge. And yeah, it also has a radio, but it's Panasonic. And I actually had to change the front speakers at one point, and they did not look like they were fitted in the factory, so I think that's an aftermarket fit. So yeah. I also have the Technica my review of this car, and they said the seats are very uncomfortable. I kind of agree. They have sort of next to no sideways, what's that word? They don't hold you when you corner fast. The brakes on mine are terrible. I need to change the pads. But Technica my review said that they are very, how do you say, prone to locking up. However, I have fixed that issue with wider tyres. Wider low profile. Well, they aren't low profile like that. They are 185 wide, 55% profile, and 14-inch rims. And it's brilliant to drive with this setup. I think due to emissions, most of the Daihatsu Charades sold in Finland in the early 90s were with a 16-valve engine, because it's more efficient, because power is efficiency or something, I don't know. Yeah, 1.3 litre, 90 horsepower. It's 16 valve, but it only has one camshaft. It has, what, 125 Newton meters of torque. It does get off the line enough to, when I started filming, through the camera off the dashboard. So that's why I'm driving carefully currently. But I have, on obviously a closed racetrack and under over, everything's legal. I have topped 175 kilometers an hour with this. So it's not slow, but modern day standards, it probably is. What you gonna do? It is a 30-year-old car, but it's a pretty good, strong 30-year-old compact car. Heading for the motorway to demonstrate the acceleration. There's no cup holder, so I'll just have to hold my beer. I mean coffee. Even though it is a rather small car, I would prefer to use the word compact, because, well, for my uses it's never been sort of too small. Because me, well, I'm not the tallest guy, but you know, I fit into the back seat and I can wear a hat. Bear with me. He's from IKEA. Sorry, that was terrible. Now you see, the car is 3.6 meters long on the exterior. So you would think that boot space is rather limited. Well, it is. There's not much space in the boot because most of the space of the car interior is here. But you can fit stuff like, I don't know, bicycles, engine cranes, or is it an engine hoist? I don't know. And you know, they even had a van version of this, which was basically the same car except these windows weren't glass. They actually are glass. The front windows might actually be perspex or something cheaper, I don't know. But when you do fold the seats down, and you can see, I'm sort of sitting in the way, but they do fold down, and then you have the boot. It's a pretty brilliant car. When you drive alone, because it's so lightweight, and adding too much weight does actually give an impact on the performance. So yeah, it's best to drive when you drive alone. But I mean, you can fit a full-size man. Well, I don't know if I can use that word. I am 175 centimeters tall. And I fit in here very well. The boot isn't that big. Nope. If I just move the parcel shelf out of the way, might just sort of, car is so dusty I'm gonna get dirty anyway. Parcel shelf. There you go. Actually, it's not that small. Once we were in a car meet a few years back, I tried shoving myself into a Mazda MX-5 boot, and the boot lid didn't close. So the boot here is bigger than on an MX-5, because I fit in there. Now I do know for a fact that GT-TIs have already gone up in value, but I reckon you can still buy a 16 valve for pretty cheap. Well, how long have I had mine? About 5 years, 5.5. Still, it needed a lot of work, and it is a car that doesn't, you know, I don't see one of them every day. Well, I do because I own one, but you know, don't see other Charades very often. But if you can get your hands on a Daihatsu Charade, go for a GTTI or a 16 valve. Because, you know, the other options are 3-cylinder 1 litre carbureted engines or diesels, or, you know, just terrible, maybe 50 horsepower. It's a brilliant car. I recommend. You can't really find Charades, so I reckon I am really lucky to have one, because it is a great car. And I'm not just saying that because, well, childhood memories. They do have a slight impact on how I look at the car. Definitely recommend the Daihatsu Charade 16 valve G102. Well, I reckon that is all. Thanks for watching. Bye.